Marcus Chen had been a maintenance worker on Luna Station for 8 years, fixing air recyclers and patching hull breaches while his wife Sarah raised their son Tommy back on Earth. The pay was decent, the work honest, and every month he sent enough credits home to keep his family comfortable in their small apartment in Neo, Singapore. Today was supposed to be special. Tommy's 10th birthday was in 3 days, and Marcus had saved enough to finally afford the Neuralink gaming system his son had been begging for. He'd scheduled a video call for 1,400 hours station time, right when Tommy would be getting home from school. The communication booth on level 7 was cramped but private, with a decent holographic projector that made conversations feel almost real. Marcus checked his appearance in the reflection of the booth's metal walls, smoothing down his work coveralls and running a hand through his graying hair. At 42, the years in low gravity had been kind to him, but he could see the worry lines around his eyes that came from being away from family. The connection established with a soft chime, and suddenly his cramped booth filled with the warm light of Earth's afternoon sun streaming through his family's apartment windows. Sarah appeared first, her dark hair pulled back in the practical ponytail she wore for her job at the medical clinic. Her smile lit up the small space. "Marcus, you look good. Have you been eating enough? The protein rations on Luna are terrible." Before he could answer, Tommy burst into frame, his school uniform slightly rumpled and his backpack hitting the floor with a thud. At 10 years old, he was all energy and excitement, his father's brown eyes bright with intelligence. "Dad! Dad! Guess what happened today? Jin's older brother got accepted to the Mars Colony Academy. He's going to be a real space pilot." Marcus felt his heart swell with pride and longing. "That's amazing, buddy. Maybe someday you'll be up here with me, exploring the stars. I want to visit Luna Station. You promised you'd show me the Earth View deck when I turned 12. "I remember. 2 more years, and if your grades stay good, we'll make it happen." They talked for nearly an hour about school, friends, and Tommy's upcoming birthday. Marcus was in the middle of describing the massive cargo ships that docked at Luna Station when the alert klaxons began blaring throughout the station. "Emergency Protocol 7. All personnel to designated safe zones." This is not a drill. The hologram flickered as the station's power systems automatically diverted energy to defensive measures. Through the static, Marcus could see confusion on Sarah's face. "Marcus, what's happening? Those alarms sound serious." Before he could answer, the booth's emergency display activated, showing a tactical readout of the space around Luna Station. 3 massive ships had dropped out of hyperspace, their sleek designs unlike anything in human space. The vessels were easily 10 times the size of the largest human dreadnoughts, their hulls gleaming with an almost organic sheen. "Unknown vessels, this is Luna Station traffic control. You are in violation of Earth Defense Zone regulations. Identify yourselves immediately." The response came not through communication channels, but as a broadcast that somehow reached every screen, every display, every device capable of receiving signals in the entire Sol system. The alien who appeared was tall and elegant, with pale blue skin and eyes like liquid silver. When it spoke, its voice carried an undertone of absolute authority. "Primitive beings of the 3rd planet. You have been selected for evaluation. Your species shows potential for military service in the greater galactic commonwealth. We require specimens for assessment." Marcus felt ice form in his veins. Through the flickering hologram, he could see Sarah pulling Tommy close, her face pale with sudden understanding. The alien continued, its silver eyes seeming to look directly through the camera. "To demonstrate our capabilities and your powerlessness, we will select targets from your population centers. Resistance will result in the complete sterilization of your star system." On Luna Station, emergency broadcasts were cutting in and out as the station's crew tried to understand what was happening. Marcus could hear shouting in the corridors outside his booth, the sound of people running, emergency teams mobilizing. But his attention was fixed on the hologram showing his family. Sarah had moved to the window, looking up at the sky where ships must be visible even in Earth's daylight. Tommy was asking questions, his young voice confused and frightened. "Mom? What does he mean by specimens? Why is everyone scared?" The alien's broadcast shifted, showing real-time footage from cities across Earth. Beams of light were striking specific targets with surgical precision, not destroying buildings or infrastructure, but somehow selecting and lifting individual people into the sky. The technology was beyond anything humans possessed. "The selection process has begun," the alien announced. "We require diversity in age, genetic markers, and geographical distribution. Those chosen should consider themselves honored to serve the Commonwealth." Marcus watched in horror as one of those beams of light appeared through his family's apartment window. Tommy looked up at it with curiosity rather than fear, his 10-year-old mind not yet grasping the danger. "Dad, there's a pretty light coming through the window. It's making everything tingle." "Tommy, get away from the light. Sarah, grab him." But it was too late. The tractor beam enveloped his son, and Marcus could only watch helplessly as Tommy began to float upward, his expression shifting from wonder to fear as he realized something was wrong. "Dad? Dad! Something's wrong! I can't move properly!" Sarah lunged for their son, but the beam somehow repelled her while continuing to lift Tommy toward the ceiling. The boy's school uniform fluttered in the artificial gravity field as he rose higher. "Help me! Mom, Dad, help me! I'm scared!" Marcus slammed his fists against the booth's walls, screaming his son's name. The hologram showed Tommy disappearing through what must have been some kind of matter displacement field that allowed him to pass through solid matter. One moment he was there, terrified and calling for his parents, and the next he was gone. Sarah's scream of anguish cut through the static of the deteriorating connection. She collapsed where Tommy had been standing, her hands reaching toward empty air. The alien appeared on screen again, its expression unchanged by the suffering it had just caused. "Selection complete. The specimens will be processed and evaluated. Promising individuals will be inducted into Commonwealth military service. Others will serve in support roles. Your cooperation in this matter will be noted favorably in your species' permanent record." Marcus felt something break inside his chest, a cold rage unlike anything he had ever experienced. His son, his 10-year-old boy who loved space adventures and dreamed of exploring the stars, was gone, taken by creatures who spoke of humans like livestock. The connection to Earth finally failed completely, leaving Marcus alone in the booth with the red glow of Luna Station's emergency lighting. Outside, he could hear announcements about defensive positions and evacuation protocols, but they seemed meaningless now. He stumbled out of the booth and down the corridor toward the main observation deck. Through the reinforced windows, he could see the alien ships hanging in space like predators, their hulls reflecting Earth's blue light. Smaller craft were moving between the massive vessels and the planet below, carrying their human cargo. Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez, Luna Station's military liaison, was coordinating with Earth Defense Command through a crackling communication system. Her voice was tight with controlled fury. "Confirmed alien abductions from 47 major population centers. Estimated 7,000 individuals taken, including 300 minors. Earth fleet is mobilizing, but our preliminary scans show their technology is centuries beyond ours." Marcus moved closer to the window, pressing his palms against the cold material. Somewhere in one of those ships was his son, probably terrified and alone, taken from everything he knew and loved. Other families throughout the Sol system were experiencing the same agonizing loss. Parents who had watched helplessly as their children were stolen, spouses separated by unimaginable distances, siblings torn apart by alien technology that treated humans as commodities. The rage in Marcus's chest was growing, fed by helplessness and grief. He had spent 8 years on Luna Station, maintaining the systems that kept humans alive in the hostile environment of space. He knew every circuit, every junction, every weakness in the station's design. More importantly, he knew the weaknesses in the design of every other human installation in the system. Marcus turned away from the window and began walking toward the maintenance section, his mind already calculating distances, power requirements, and the explosive potential of a properly modified fusion reactor. The aliens had made a mistake in their demonstration of power. They had shown humans exactly what they were capable of losing, and they had chosen to take the most precious thing in the universe from a man who understood how things were built. More dangerously, he understood how they could be destroyed. The maintenance section was nearly empty, most of the crew having been reassigned to emergency stations. Marcus moved through the familiar corridors with purpose, his grief crystallizing into something harder and more focused. They had taken Tommy to demonstrate their power over humanity. It was time to demonstrate what humanity was capable of when pushed too far. Marcus began pulling up schematics on his work terminal, cross-referencing them with tactical data about the alien vessels. If his son was going to be taken to the stars, then the stars themselves would burn before Marcus let these creatures succeed. The aliens had just learned their first lesson about human nature. When you threaten a human's family, you don't get a prisoner. You get a weapon. Marcus spent the next 3 hours in the maintenance bay, pulling components that officially didn't exist from storage lockers that weren't supposed to contain them. Luna Station had been built during humanity's expansion period, when Earth's governments were paranoid about alien contact and possible invasion. Hidden throughout the station's infrastructure were military-grade systems disguised as civilian equipment. The fusion reactor that powered Luna Station was actually capable of output levels that would have made Earth's Admiralty nervous. The communication arrays included targeting systems that could lock onto vessels at impressive distances. And the cargo manipulation systems were based on the same technology that powered Earth's most advanced weapons platforms. Marcus had discovered these hidden capabilities during a routine maintenance check 6 years ago, but he'd kept the knowledge to himself. Luna Station's official logs would never show what he was about to do. He started with the reactor modifications, carefully adjusting the magnetic containment protocols to allow for controlled instability. Not enough to destroy the station, but sufficient to create a massive electromagnetic pulse that would disable most electronic systems within a significant radius. The alien ships relied heavily on energy-based technology. Marcus had observed their smooth hulls during the abduction, noting the complete absence of physical protrusions or mechanical systems. Everything about their design suggested they were dependent on advanced electronics and power distribution networks. Electronics that could be disrupted. While he worked, Marcus monitored communications from Earth and other installations throughout the system. The aliens had consolidated their captured humans aboard the largest of their 3 vessels, which they apparently called the Harvester Prime. The ship was maintaining a stationary position approximately 50,000 kilometers from Earth, well within range of Luna Station's modified systems. Captain Williams, Luna Station's commanding officer, had been in contact with Earth Defense Command for hours, coordinating what everyone knew would be a futile rescue attempt. Humanity's most advanced warships were barely capable of interplanetary travel, while the alien vessels had crossed interstellar space in what appeared to be a matter of days. But Marcus wasn't planning a conventional attack. He made his way to the station's central computer core, where he began uploading a virus he had been developing as a personal project for the past 2 years. The program was designed to infiltrate and map alien computer systems, specifically targeting the type of quantum-based networks that theoretical xenotechnology specialists believed advanced civilizations would use. Marcus had started the project after attending a lecture by Dr. Sarah Kim, Earth's leading expert on hypothetical alien technology. She had theorized that any species capable of interstellar travel would likely use quantum-entangled communication networks, which would be incredibly sophisticated but potentially vulnerable to specific types of interference. The virus wasn't designed to destroy alien systems, but to learn from them and identify weaknesses. Marcus hoped it would give him the information he needed to make his electromagnetic pulse as effective as possible. As he worked, reports continued coming in from across the system. The aliens had finished their specimen collection and were beginning to move their ships into a departure formation. They apparently intended to leave the Sol system with their human cargo within the next few hours. Marcus felt the cold rage in his chest intensify. They were treating his son like cargo, preparing to take him away from everything he had ever known. Tommy was probably confused and terrified, surrounded by alien technology and separated from his parents. The boy had always been brave, even as a small child. When he was 6, he had comforted his mother during a thunderstorm, telling her that lightning couldn't hurt them because they were safe inside their home. When he was 8, he had stood up to a group of older kids who were bullying a smaller child at school. But no amount of courage could prepare a 10-year-old for alien abduction. Marcus finished the virus upload and began working on the targeting systems. Luna Station's hidden military capabilities included sensors that could track multiple targets simultaneously and coordinate attacks with other installations. He needed to synchronize his electromagnetic pulse with similar efforts from other human facilities throughout the system. A quick check of the communication networks revealed that he wasn't the only one planning something desperate. Dr. Elena Vasquez on Mars Station had been modifying her facility's industrial mining lasers, while Commander Singh on Titan Base was overloading his station's defensive satellites. Across the system, humans were preparing to fight back with whatever they had. Marcus opened a secure channel to coordinate with the other installations. The aliens had demonstrated their ability to intercept human communications, but they probably weren't monitoring the maintenance frequencies that engineers used for routine equipment diagnostics. "This is Luna Station Maintenance Chief Chen. Is anyone monitoring this channel?" The response came immediately from Mars Station. "Elena here, Marcus. I've been working on modifications to our mining array. What's your status?" "Reactor modifications complete. I can generate an electromagnetic pulse capable of disrupting alien electronics across a significant area. What's your range on the mining lasers?" "Modified for maximum power, I can reach Earth orbit. The aliens don't seem to be shielding against industrial-grade coherent light." Commander Singh's voice crackled through the static from Titan. "My defensive satellites can coordinate with your pulse, Marcus. If we can disrupt their power systems, my kinetic impactors might be able to penetrate their hulls." Marcus felt a grim satisfaction as he realized that humans throughout the system were thinking along the same lines. The aliens had shown them advanced technology and assumed that primitive humans would be intimidated into submission. They had forgotten that humans had survived on a hostile planet by adapting and improvising, by turning anything available into tools and weapons. "Synchronization in 40 minutes, Marcus announced. "Target the largest vessel first. That's where they're holding our people." As he prepared for the attack, Marcus received an unexpected message on his personal communication channel. The transmission was coming from Earth, but the signal characteristics were wrong. It was too clean, too powerful, and coming from a location that should have been impossible. His son's voice filled the maintenance bay. "Dad? Dad, are you there? I found a way to access their communication system." Marcus nearly dropped the tools he was holding. "Tommy, are you all right? Where are you?" "I'm on their big ship. Dad, I'm scared, but I'm okay. There are other kids here, lots of them. The aliens aren't hurting us, but they're doing tests, taking blood samples and scanning our brains. I'm going to get you out of there, son. Your mother and I love you." "Dad, listen carefully. I managed to access one of their computer terminals. These aliens aren't as smart as they think they are. Their security systems are really advanced. but they're not expecting a kid to mess with them. Marcus felt a surge of pride mixed with his fear. Tommy had always been clever with technology, spending hours tinkering with electronic toys and computer programs. Apparently, those skills were serving him well even in this impossible situation. "What did you find out?" "Their ship's main computer is in the center section and it controls everything. Life support, navigation, weapons, everything. If something happened to it, the whole ship would stop working. Tommy, I need you to stay away from their computer systems. It's too dangerous." "Dad, I can help. There's a way to disrupt their power grid from the inside. But someone has to do it manually. The other kids are too scared, but I know how electronics work. You taught me." Marcus felt his heart breaking. His 10-year-old son was offering to risk his life to help save everyone aboard the alien vessel. The boy was braver than most adults Marcus had known. "Son, I'm going to attack their ship from out here. When I do, their systems will be disrupted. That might be your chance to escape, but I need you to promise me you'll be careful." "I promise, Dad. I love you." "I love you too, Tommy. Tell the other kids to get ready. In 30 minutes, things are going to get very exciting." The communication cut out, leaving Marcus alone with his preparations and his fears. His son was trapped aboard an alien vessel, surrounded by advanced technology and beings who saw humans as resources to be exploited. But Tommy was also clever, brave, and determined to help. Marcus had raised his son to be strong and independent, to think for himself, and never give up when things got difficult. Now those lessons were being tested in the most extreme circumstances possible. He finished his modifications to Luna Station's systems and began the final countdown to the coordinated attack. Across the solar system, other humans were making their own preparations, turning peaceful installations into improvised weapons platforms. The aliens had chosen to demonstrate their power by taking human children. They were about to learn that threatening human families was the best possible way to turn an entire species into enemies. Marcus activated Luna Station's modified systems and waited for the precise moment to strike. In 28 minutes, the aliens would discover that humans were far more dangerous than they appeared, and Tommy would learn that his father would burn down the stars themselves before letting anyone hurt his family. Marcus stood before Luna Station's main control panel, his hands steady despite the magnitude of what he was about to do. The countdown showed 3 minutes and 47 seconds until the coordinated attack would begin. Across the solar system, other humans were making final preparations to turn their peaceful installations into weapons. The alien ship designated Harvester Prime hung in space like a predator, its organic curves reflecting Earth's sunlight. Somewhere inside that vessel, Tommy and thousands of other humans were being held against their will, treated as specimens by beings who considered themselves superior. The aliens were about to learn that humans had not conquered their homeworld and spread across the solar system by being passive. 2 minutes, Marcus announced over the secure maintenance frequency. "All stations confirm readiness." Dr. Vasquez's voice came through clearly from Mars Station. "Mining array charged and targeted, ready to burn holes in their hull," Commander Singh reported from Titan Base. "Defensive satellites synchronized with Luna Station's pulse timing. Kinetic impactors loaded and aimed." Similar confirmations came from Europa Research Station, Ceres mining facility, and even the tiny outpost on Pluto. Humanity's scattered presence throughout the system was about to become a coordinated weapon. Marcus had spent years maintaining the systems that kept humans alive in space. Now he was going to use that same knowledge to show the aliens that taking human children was the worst mistake they could possibly make. 30 seconds. He thought about Tommy, somewhere aboard that alien vessel, probably scared but trying to be brave. His son had always been fascinated by stories of space exploration and alien contact. Marcus wondered if Tommy had ever imagined that first contact would be like this. 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7. Marcus placed his hand on the activation control, feeling the weight of every decision that had led him to this moment. 8 years of working in space, maintaining the hidden systems that could turn Luna Station into a weapon. Years of learning how things were built so he would know how to destroy them. 3, 2, 1. Execute. Marcus slammed his palm down on the control, and Luna Station's hidden military systems came online with devastating efficiency. The modified fusion reactor released a controlled burst of electromagnetic energy that swept across space like an invisible tsunami, focused and amplified by the targeting arrays. The pulse struck Harvester Prime with the combined force of a solar flare, concentrated into a single devastating wave. The alien vessel's smooth hull flickered as its energy systems overloaded and failed. The elegant curves that had seemed so intimidating moments before became dark and lifeless. At the same moment, Dr. Vasquez's modified mining lasers reached across the void from Mars, their industrial-grade coherent light boring through the alien hull where the electromagnetic pulse had disrupted defensive systems. The beams carved precise holes in the vessel's structure, venting atmosphere and causing secondary explosions throughout the ship. Commander Singh's kinetic impactors arrived seconds later, tungsten projectiles traveling at significant fractions of light speed. They punched through the weakened hull like bullets through paper, causing massive structural damage and sending shockwaves through the vessel's framework. From across the solar system, improvised weapons struck the alien ship with coordinated precision. Humans who had never been soldiers, who worked in maintenance and research and peaceful exploration, had turned their knowledge and tools into instruments of vengeance. Harvester Prime began to drift, its propulsion systems dark and its communication arrays silent. Atmosphere streamed from dozens of hull breaches, and secondary explosions flickered throughout the vessel's interior as critical systems failed. But Marcus wasn't finished. The electromagnetic pulse had been designed to disable, not destroy. He needed to get aboard that ship to rescue his son and the other captives. Luna Station's hidden systems included more than weapons. The maintenance bays contained emergency response craft that were actually military assault shuttles disguised as civilian vessels. Marcus had discovered them years ago during a routine inspection, but had never expected to use them. He made his way to Bay 7, where the most capable of the hidden shuttles waited in standby mode. The vessel looked like a standard maintenance craft, but its hull was reinforced against weapons fire and its engines were capable of impressive acceleration. As Marcus prepared the shuttle for launch, reports came in from other installations. The 2 smaller alien vessels had attempted to flee the system but had been intercepted by Earth Defense Command, their crews apparently unable to adapt when their advanced technology failed. Harvester Prime remained dead in space, drifting slowly toward Earth's gravitational well. Long-range scans showed that life support was failing throughout the vessel, putting the human captives in immediate danger. Marcus launched from Luna Station and accelerated toward the alien ship, pushing his stolen shuttle to its maximum velocity. The journey would take nearly an hour, time that the captives might not have if the aliens couldn't restore their life support systems. As he flew through space, Marcus monitored communication frequencies for any sign that Tommy was still able to access the alien computer systems. Static filled most channels, but occasionally he caught fragments of transmissions that might have been his son's voice. When Marcus reached Harvester Prime, the alien vessel was clearly dying. Atmosphere continued to vent from multiple hull breaches, and the ship's elegant curves were scarred by weapon impacts and internal explosions. The vessel that had seemed so threatening hours earlier now looked like a wounded animal. Marcus docked his shuttle at one of the larger hull breaches and sealed his environmental suit. The shuttle's scanners showed that this section of the ship still had minimal atmosphere, but it was contaminated with alien atmospheric mixtures that would be toxic to humans. He made his way through corridors that were clearly designed for beings taller and more slender than humans. Emergency lighting flickered intermittently, and the ship's gravity systems were failing, creating pockets of zero gravity throughout the vessel. Marcus followed the shuttle's tactical display toward the center of the ship, where life support readings indicated the highest concentration of human life signs. As he moved deeper into the vessel, he began to encounter alien crew members. The beings were indeed tall and elegant, with pale blue skin and silver eyes, but they were also clearly dying. Their advanced technology had failed them completely, and they seemed unable to adapt to the ship's damaged condition. Some were unconscious, others were struggling with emergency equipment they didn't seem to understand. Marcus felt no sympathy for them. These creatures had taken his son and thousands of other humans, treating them like cargo to be shipped across the galaxy. Whatever was happening to them now was justice for the families they had destroyed. He reached a large chamber near the ship's center, where his environmental suit's scanners detected over 2,000 human life signs. The chamber's entrance was secured by some kind of energy barrier, but the ship's failing power systems were causing it to flicker and weaken. Marcus found the control panel and began working to override the security system. His years of experience with alien-derived technology served him well, and within minutes, he had bypassed the failing barriers. The chamber beyond was enormous, filled with holding cells that contained humans of all ages. The aliens had indeed selected for diversity, taking people from every continent and demographic, but they were all still alive, and most seemed to be in reasonable health. Marcus began opening the holding cells, releasing confused and frightened humans into the larger chamber. Many of them recognized him as someone who might be able to help, and they began organizing themselves to help others. Then he heard the voice he had been hoping for. "Dad? Dad! You came for us!" Tommy burst out of one of the holding cells and ran toward his father, his school uniform torn but his spirit clearly unbroken. Marcus caught his son in his arms and held him tightly, feeling the rage and fear of the past few hours dissolve into relief and love. "I told you I'd come get you," Marcus said, his voice rough with emotion. "Dad, we have to help the others, and the ship is really damaged. I've been trying to fix the life support, but their computer systems are too different." Marcus looked around the chamber at thousands of humans who were depending on him to get them home safely. The alien ship was dying, but it was still their only way back to Earth. He needed to find a way to restore enough power and life support to keep everyone alive during the journey home. "Tommy, I need you to show me their computer systems. If we can get basic life support working, Earth Defense Command can send ships to help with the evacuation." His son led him through corridors filled with freed humans toward the ship's central computer core. The chamber was enormous, filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with faint energy. The alien technology was unlike anything in human space, but Marcus could see the logical patterns in its design. Working together, father and son began the process of jury-rigging human-compatible life support systems using alien technology. Tommy's natural talent with electronics complemented Marcus's years of engineering experience, and slowly they began to restore basic functionality to the dying ship. Other humans joined them, many with technical skills of their own. Together they turned the Harvester Prime into a makeshift refugee transport, powered by improvised systems and held together by human ingenuity and determination. When Earth Defense Command ships finally arrived to assist with the evacuation, they found that the humans had not only survived their captivity, but had taken control of the most advanced vessel in the solar system. The aliens, who had seen humans as primitive specimens suitable for military service, discovered too late that they had chosen the wrong species to underestimate. Marcus stood with his son on the observation deck of the captured alien ship, looking out at Earth as they approached home. Tommy was telling him about everything that had happened, about the other children who had been taken, and how they had all worked together to help each other survive. "Dad, do you think they'll come back? The aliens?" Marcus considered the question carefully. The Commonwealth ships that had escaped would certainly report back to their superiors about what had happened in the Sol system. But he doubted they would describe humans as suitable specimens for military service. If they do come back, son, they'll find us ready for them. And they'll discover that threatening human families is the best way to unite our entire species against them. Tommy nodded, apparently satisfied with that answer. Can we go home now? Mom is probably worried. Yes, Marcus said, putting his arm around his son's shoulders. Let's go home. Behind them, thousands of other humans were preparing for their return to Earth, carried by an alien vessel that had become a symbol of human resilience and ingenuity. The beings who had come to harvest specimens had instead provided humanity with advanced technology and a harsh lesson about the dangers that existed beyond their solar system. Marcus had begun the day as a maintenance worker missing his family. He was ending it as the father who had turned an alien invasion into humanity's first victory among the stars. The galaxy had just learned that humans were far more dangerous than they appeared, and that threatening their children was the fastest way to turn an entire species into an enemy that would burn ships and cross impossible distances for revenge. Earth grew larger in the viewports as they approached home, blue and beautiful and defended by a people who had just proven they would fight anyone and anything to protect their families.